All right, what's up, co-consoles? So let us recap Diddy, okay? We're starting off with May 22. Hopefully we can get to May 21st because I'm probably most interested in a Kaplan's testimony because he used to work for Diddy, and the prosecutors are alleging that the enterprise is Diddy and his businesses. Okay? So this is a recap. This is the Washington Post. Hopefully they have better reporting in any event. Let us get into it. All right, because I only have what? I have 58 minutes. Okay, so here's another individual, the prosecutor. Look at Benji. What's up, Benji? It's way too early, Benji, but I do appreciate the support. Where were you? We were live last night. Were you working? We talked. I mean, there was no Karen Reed court. It was not a court day yesterday, so we just recapped last week Friday. In any event, thanks for being up here. I do appreciate the support. Okay, so Benji was working. All right, let us get into Diddy though. Okay, so around 9:05 a.m., they were reporting that Mila Morales, a makeup artist Cassie Ventura had described as her big sister, was expected to testify yesterday, Thursday. The two were staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel the night Ventura came home from a party at Prince's home in Los Angeles. Too many celebrity names. Okay, pursued by an allegedly irate Sean Combs or Diddy. He just burst into the room, and I didn't want Mila to see or hear anything. Ventura testified last week. So they went into the bedroom and were in a bad fight, and he beat her up in that room. Okay. Okay, so let's see. 922. Apparently, the court just debated the state of mind of Scott Kid Cudi Muscati's dog. While the jury was out of the room, the judge and lawyers discussed what Muscati may talk about during his testimony on Thursday, um, as it relates to the impact that a home break-in allegedly orchestrated by Diddy had on Muscati's dog. Diddy's attorney, Brian Steele, didn't want any testimony from Muscati about the dog being traumatized by the burglary. He's not going to testify about what the dog thought. About what the dog thought, an amused judge said, eliciting laughter from the court. Steele, who smirked at the exchange, stressed that he didn't want dog lovers on the jury. That's what I figured. I figured that's where he was, or what he was getting at. So Brian Steele did not want dog lovers on the jury to be swayed by the testimony. The dog was never the same. The dog urinated on the floor. Why do we need that? Steele said. Mr. Steele, I hear you. Oh, hold on. What's going on with the computer? Said the judge. He ruled that Muscati can talk about the immediate impact the burglary had on his dog, but cannot talk about the long-term consequences to the dog. Unfortunately, the dog is no longer with us, said the prosecutor. That's Emily Johnson. She added that she was happy to limit Muscati's dog related to the testimony to the immediate aftermath of the incident. Okay? So then we move on to, do we actually get into the testimony? I suppose not. So around 9:25 a.m., there was also a debate. I don't know that I'd call it a debate. I think it's more of a sidebar. Okay, there was also a debate in court Thursday morning over testimony that rapper Kid Cudi is expected to give about a meeting with Diddy following an alleged arson and burglary. According to Cassie Ventura's testimony last week, Diddy threatened to blow up the rapper's car after he found out the two were dating. And that's what I don't. The one thing that's not been cleared up for me, right? Not that it matters, it probably does not matter, but I am not quite clear on if Cassie and Diddy broke up and then she started dating Cuddy, or if it's not clear for me. And again, I don't even know if I should call it a relationship, but their relationship, I suppose, seems like it spanned a decade. But as far as Kid Cudi is concerned, I just I don't know if there was a breaking point, if she was dating two people at the same time. I, that's still not clear for me. In any event, so Diddy threatened to blow up the rapper's car after he found out the two were dating. Shortly afterwards, Kid Cudi's car was set aflame while Combs was out of the country. Kid Cudi, whose legal name is Scott Muscati, cannot speculate and say Combs committed arson and burglary, according to the judge. But he can share his thoughts about why he called the meeting with Combs. It may be a fine line for the witness to talk, and we can expect the defense to be alert if Muscati's testimony veers off track. Okay, so around 9:26, they reported the court has concluded going over the morning's expected testimony, and George Kaplan, a former assistant to Diddy, is back on the stand. And hopefully, we have enough time towards the end of yesterday's recap, because I do want to go back to, I think it's Wednesday, because yesterday was Thursday. I'd like to go back to Wednesday because I'm really interested in George Kaplan's testimony. And the reason why I'm interested, okay, here's the thing. Sure, the Cassie stuff was graphic. The Kid Cudi stuff sounds like people were excited about. He's been described as somewhat of a likable witness. But I'm still, based on what we've seen so far, I still do not see the enterprise. So I think in order for the prosecution to, in fact, prove the enterprise or the RICO, we have to have somebody other than, or they have to have somebody other than Cassie take the stand. And it has to be somebody that was, in fact, involved in, what is this? Diddy's alleged wrongdoings. Otherwise, as the defense is arguing, this is merely domestic violence. Let me not put it that way, but I mean, that's what they're arguing. But we're not going to put it that way because domestic violence is, in fact, serious and it's real. Okay, but that's not what Diddy's charged with over here. Okay, so let's see. So Diddy's former assistant, George Kaplan, this was around 10, testified Thursday about a harrowing incident between Diddy and Cassie on a private jet. Listen, these people are on private jets, and this is the alleged conduct they're engaging in. So Kaplan told the jury he accompanied the couple and members of Diddy's security team on a flight to Las Vegas in 2015. He said, let me quickly change something here. My screen keeps going off. How do I do this? My screen keeps going off. So maybe if I just put something up here, it's going to stop doing that. Let me remove that because I don't want to confuse people. I'll just put it on. I'll leave that there to see if it stops going off. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so Kaplan told the jury he accompanied a couple of members of Diddy's security team on a flight to Las Vegas in 2015. He said he heard glass shatter behind his seat, looked over his shoulder, and saw Diddy standing over Cassie, holding a whiskey tumbler over her. Okay. Ventura was lying with her back on the ground. Okay, so she's face up. Yeah, it sounds like she's face up. Her legs extended as though to create space between the two of them. He said, okay, the leg part, I don't understand. There was tremendous commotion, Kaplan continued. He turned his face away. Why would you turn away? I mean, Benji, yeah, a private jet would be nice, but I'd like to think that if that's a lifestyle, that, I mean, these people are also druggies and alcoholics, so that does add a layer of, I suppose, chaos. But I'm just, listen, I drive 2020 Kia or something along those lines. Never been on a private jet. I probably won't ever be on a private jet. But I'd like to think that if that's your lifestyle, you would be out there chilling, I don't know, drinking a cappuccino, uh, enjoying some breeze, somebody dangling grapes over your mouth, something along those lines. As far as all this conflict, no, 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 no. If this is, anyways, let us move on. Let us move on. Okay, so Kaplan apparently turned his face away and heard Ventura call out. Isn't anybody seeing this? That's also what I'm wondering. I'm like, why you turn? I mean, I guess he's trying to keep his job, but still. Kaplan couldn't remember what Diddy was saying, but recalled that he sounded angry. Kaplan said he did nothing. I'm surprised the defense did not object to the out of court statement where he says, "Isn't anybody saying this?" Apparently, that's what Cassie said. Because under these circumstances, I cannot find a hearsay exception to that. Anyways, let's move on. Kaplan said he did nothing amid the crashing and chaos. Security did nothing. Combs told Ventura to stay at the back of the plane. Kaplan testified. He said when Diddy strode to the front of the jet, no one went back to check on Ventura. My goodness. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. And then George Kaplan exhaled heavily when asked why he did nothing when he saw Diddy's violence towards Cassie on a private jet. I was 23 years old. The former assistant testified. All I wanted to do was have a great job. That does not sound like a great job. Apparently, all he wanted was a great job in the entertainment industry. Kaplan added that at the time, he could not believe this good fortune working for such an icon and was concerned speaking out could jeopardize Diddy's well-being. So he was concerned about Diddy's well-being as opposed to Cassie. I mean, Diddy's the one that paid him, so I suppose that adds up. In another incident, George Kaplan testified he got a call on the intercom at Diddy's Los Angeles home in 2015 to come to the bedroom. And here's the other thing I considered sometime this week. Where were the children? Do the children not stay with Diddy? Because listen, if somebody's a complete crash out and they are volatile, I don't know that they're capable of picking and choosing the proper venues or settings in order for them to be violent. I mean, maybe some people can do that, but I do question where the children were. Okay, so Kaplan said that he saw Cassie Ventura on the bed, clearly upset with a bruised eyebrow and forehead. Kaplan walked past, so I guess the Punisher, because was that Wednesday? On Wednesday, we recapped the Punisher's testimony from Tuesday. And the Punisher was a sex worker. I don't know why it's called a Punisher, but he's a sex worker that met with Cassie and Diddy at least on one occasion at Trump Tower, and him and Cassie put on a show for Diddy that it sounds like he was just in the corner or something along those lines doing what he does. Okay, so Kaplan walked past Ventura to Combs, who was in the bathroom. He said Diddy asked him to pick up several over-the-counter remedies, including witch hazel. I'm always getting distracted. But a few years ago, I learned that witch hazel, they have a warning on them. Maybe it's changed. But back in the day, they used to have a warning on witch hazel that says that it can cause cancer. It has, I believe, a Proposition 65 for California. I think that's what it's called. A Prop 65 warning. Okay. So Kaplan testified that he used Diddy's corporate credit card to purchase the items, which he understood would be mixed together as an anti-swelling agent. Okay, so that's, I guess, part of the incorporation of his business. And then around 10:17, I'm a young man. This is a God among men, George Kaplan said on the stand, describing how he viewed Diddy when he worked as the producer's assistant years ago. He didn't just push me to my deepest depths. He took me to the depths that I didn't know I had. What does that mean? Oh, okay. So apparently he actually helped him grow up as a man. So he viewed him in a positive light despite the chaos that was happening around them. So several people in Diddy's inner circle have expressed a cult-like adoration of Diddy during the trial. They have described him as having an infectious vibe, attractive and alluring. Kaplan, who is testifying under an immunity agreement, said he quit working for Combs after witnessing his boss abuse his long-term girlfriend Cassie, as well as another woman Combs had been seeing for years. So it sounds like he was seeing multiple people. And um, I'm intrigued. So far, again, that's why we do have to go back to Kaplan's testimony from May 21st, because it's my understanding that he has an immunity deal with the government, and they're not going to give that to you unless they here's what it means. They are, or at least the government is of the opinion that Kaplan could have been charged and tried as a co-defendant. Obviously, it sounds like his attorneys agreed to some extent, because otherwise they would not have advised the client to go with this immunity deal. And then at the end of the day, the client does whatever the client wants to do. So that's a part that I'm missing. I'm missing exactly what it is that Kaplan did that implicates him. Okay, so George Kaplan finally quit his dream job working for Diddy. He testified Thursday after seeing his boss attack yet another girlfriend in 2015. So him attacking one one girlfriend is not enough. He had to see at least two. Okay, so Kaplan said he was staying in Combs' guest house in Miami at the time. Late one night, he said he saw Diddy throw green apples. He wasn't sure if they were real, very hard at a woman named Gina. She was trying to shield herself with her arms. Kaplan said he was later called to Combs' bedroom to bring a medicine bag. The mood was tense. So I think so far the only thing that I understand as far as Kaplan's involvement, I suppose he has a role of a nurse to some extent. In any event, the mood was tense, Kaplan recalled, with Gina standing in the corner of the room and Diddy seemingly on edge. Later still, he heard a woman screaming at the front gate of Diddy's estate along with male voices. Kaplan took to Kaplan took to be Diddy's security team. Questioned by Assistant U.S. Attorney Maureen Comey about why he did not do anything to intervene in Miami, Kaplan repeated that he was young and ambitious at the time. He thought it might be normal. My goodness. All right. Okay, I'm not gonna judge. We don't judge, we listen. Recounting these events, Kaplan kept shifting in his chair, crossing his arms, looking at the floor, or drawing his hand across his face. That attack on Gina proved to be the final straw, Kaplan said, and he gave Combs his notice shortly after. I was not comfortable or aligned with the physical behavior that I had seen pieces of, Kaplan told the jury. So, again, I might be reading way more into this, but if I'm recapping Kaplan's testimony, it sounds like no, let me leave Kaplan alone. I'm leaving Kaplan alone. Let's move on. All right, so around 10:46 a.m., Kid Cudi took the stand, testifying under his legal name, Scott Muscudi. And that's why I was so surprised when it came to the not ASAP Rocky. What's a trial out of Georgia? Brian Steele was the attorney in that case. The YSL trial, right? I was surprised that the prosecution agreed for Young Thug to be called Young. I mean, I was surprised for both sides. From a defense perspective, I understand why his attorneys would have been okay with him being referred to as Young Thug because of his celebrity status. But I was also taken aback because I'd be tuning in and the prosecution would be referring to him as Thug. I don't know. The case was a mess. Let us move on. Okay. All right, so they describe what Cuddy was wearing, and this clip has been playing over and over again. Basically, Cuddy walking into court, smoking a cigarette, looking like a rock star, and that's pretty much what the Washington Post is describing here. Okay, they're literally describing what he's wearing. Kid Cudi's on the witness stand wearing light jeans and a white t-shirt with a black leather jacket. It is very unusual for a witness in federal court to dress so casually. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, let's move on. So let's move on to Mr. Cuddy. All right. So Cassie testified last week that Sean Combs physically abused her during her brief relationship with rapper Kid Cudi. That's a part where I still don't get that part. I still don't get that part. Why was she not so much why was she still talking to Diddy, but was she talking to more than one person at the same time? I don't get it. But let's move on. In December of 2011, when Ventura was not in the greatest place with Combs, she was secretly, there's the answer. There's the answer. Got it. Okay. So she was secretly dating Muscati, she told the court. When Combs found out about the relationship by searching her phone during a freak off, he lunged at her with a wine bottle opener between his fingers. Ventura testified. She escaped, retreating to her room in a different hotel. The next day, when Ventura went to Combs' home or house in Los Angeles to try to make amends, she said Combs threatened to release freak off videos of her and said he would have someone hurt Cassie and Muscati physically. As she left, Combs allegedly beat her, kicking her in the back and leaving her with bruises. That's the thing. Anyways, let's move on. I was about to talk about Cuddy, but let's move on. She testified that she stayed at her parents' home for the holidays and that Muscati visited her for 3 or 4 days. By the time he left, Ventura said she had broken up with Muscati because of the danger. That's what I was going to get into. An uncertainty of what could happen if they continue to see each other. That's what I was concerned about because, I like to talk about cases. There's a case. I recently thought about that case. I just cannot remember what the defendant's name was. I don't remember the victim's name. It was a woman. I cannot remember the state. The only reason this case sticks with me is because at the time at the time that the case concluded, a lot of people were of the opinion that the woman in that case used her lover as a human shield, in the sense that this woman was in a very abusive relationship. Okay, she was in a very abusive relationship. Her husband, from what I remember, controlled every aspect of her life, would not let her go out. She had no life, no social life. So she ended up getting on some social media. I don't remember what the platform was because it's a very old case. She started communicating with a man that lived somewhere in Europe. I want to say the UK, but I don't quite remember. So she started a relationship with this, like an online relationship, to the point where things got serious enough, and this man ended up moving over to the States. And the reason why people were of the opinion that she used this man as a human shield is because she was aware of how jealous the husband or ex-husband, I don't remember if she and the husband had divorced or not, but it got to a point where the husband or the ex-husband showed up randomly one day, and um he ended up killing this lover. So I was concerned here when listen, Cassie is seeing this man in secret and she knows what Diddy is like. So I had some safety concerns for Kid Cudi. um and then again, that might have been her escape. All right, let us move on. I lost my spot. Let's find the spot. Okay. So Cassie said she had broken up with Muscati because of the danger and uncertainty of what could happen if they continue to see each other. At one point, Cassie testified Combs told her that Cuddy's car would be blown up while they were out of the country, or while they were out of the country, and that he wanted Cuddy's friends to see it. Cuddy's car exploded in his driveway around February of 2012, according to Ventura's 2023 sexual assault complaint against Diddy. The pair settled the lawsuit within 24 hours, with Combs paying Ventura $20 million, she testified. A representative for Cuddy has confirmed to media that the car combusted around that time. Ventura said in court that when Cuddy later asked Combs about his car at a meeting between the three of them, Combs answered, "What vehicle?" All right. So then it sounds like he denied it. Around 11:13, Kid Cudi testified that he thought Cassie was no longer seeing Sean Combs when he started to date her. That is the problem here. That is the problem. Okay, putting other people's children at risk. So the witness, a rapper whose real name is Cosby Cudi, recalled a day when Ventura frantically called to tell him Combs had discovered their relationship. Ventura said she had given Diddy his home She had given Diddy his home address in Los Angeles and feared he might go to Cuddy's house to confront him. At least she did warn him. Cuddy told the jury he knew Combs abused Ventura during their 11-year relationship. He said he took Ventura to the Sunset Marquis Hotel for safety. Okay. Cuddy recounted a burglary that took place the day Cassie told him that Diddy knew about their relationship. Okay, we're getting into some stuff here. So while just reading that one line, I am wondering if the prosecution is going to put anybody on the stand that's going to pretty much disclose or testify to being present at this Cuddy burglary or not. Okay, so if they were going to do that, as far as the flow of the evidence, they probably should have done it before Cuddy actually got on the stand. Anyways, so Ventura and Cuddy were hiding out in the Sunset Hotel in Los Angeles. They had a phone conversation with Capricorn Clark. What a name. An assistant who worked for both Cuddy and Combs. I did not know that assistants work for multiple people, but okay, it's not really something I ever considered. So Clark sounded as though she was on the verge of tears. Cuddy testified. Clark told him that Combs and an affiliate were at, they're probably going to have to call her now, were at Cuddy's home in the Hollywood Hills, and that she had been forced to go along and was sitting in a car outside Cuddy's house waiting for Combs. So this is why you probably, listen, if you're a celebrity, a lesson to take from Diddy's case is there are a lot of lessons, but one of them, don't share assistants unless, of course, if you're underpaying them and they need to find another job, then I suppose that makes sense. Okay, so after finding out that Diddy and an entourage were at his home, Cuddy testified he left a hotel and called Combs as he drove over. None of these people involved the police. They were just going to handle it among themselves. So here is apparently what Cuddy recalled saying: "Motherfucker, you're in my house." So I just want to talk to you. Diddy calmly responded, according to Cuddy. "I'm over here waiting for you." I don't know. I have trust issues. So when Cuddy arrived at his home, Combs wasn't there. He noticed that his security cameras, normally positioned over the door, had been turned away. Unbeknownst to him, the cameras were not working at the time, Cuddy told the jury. Inside the home, Cuddy saw that someone had unwrapped Christmas gifts he bought for his family and had locked his dog in the bathroom. The dog was jittery and on edge, he said. He said he got into his Porsche, very important detail. He got into his Porsche and called Combs again to ask where he was. He said Diddy told him he was on his way. I don't know. Listen, I'm not. These people have more faith in other human beings than I do. There is no way, no way I'm meeting up with this man. Okay. So Cuddy said he was angry and wanted to fight Combs, but calmed down after hanging up. I don't know who he was. I don't know who he was with. I don't know what his intentions are. He told the jury. He said Combs never actually met him at the house. Why do you want the man to meet you out there? That's a thing. I suppose he, again, passion, I suppose, because not thinking things through. In any event, now we've come to Cuddy's long anticipated testimony about how his car exploded. So Cuddy said he got a call from his dog sitter early one morning in January of 2012, shortly after Combs learned of his relationship with Cassie and raced home to find his Porsche mangled. I suppose the Porsche actually does. I see why they actually had to specify that it's a Porsche. Anyways, so he raced home to find his Porsche mangled in his driveway near the remains of a Molotov cocktail. He said, "What the fuck?" That's apparently what he said to himself. All right, so Scott, not Scott. I mean, his name is Scott, but Cuddy said he and Diddy met at the Soho House in Los Angeles. I did not know. What is there? Houston Street in Los Angeles? And this is in the context of, New York City. I'm just wondering. Anyways, so they met in Los Angeles after somebody blew up his car. The first time the men had seen each other since they entered a love triangle with Cassie, so nobody was going to let go. Okay. Um, Diddy was standing there with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. What? This is a mess. Hold on, I need to go back. So Cuddy said that Diddy was standing there with his hands behind his back, like a Marvel supervillain. That just tickled me. But he said Diddy spoke calmly, told him they were homies, and said he couldn't understand why Cuddy would have a fling with Cassie. I don't understand it either, but okay. So Sean Combs' demeanor was off-putting during the Soho House meeting. Cuddy testified. He kept offering me water. It was weird that he was so calm. It's allegations, but it does sound like they're trying to take him out. I don't know. Allegedly, this is just me speculating because why are you offering this man water in a calm demeanor? And even when I was reading about how they shared assistants, I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully, he fired the assistant, but uh, I don't want to speculate too much. Let's move on. So the pair talked about, now that makes me wonder. Again, I came up here and I said, was that on Monday? On Monday, when we talked about this Diddy case, there were allegations about how everybody around Diddy just comes down with a bout of pneumonia. And based on what I read, you can contract pneumonia from poisoning. So, ding, 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 ding. I don't know. I'm speculating though. So the pair talked about Cuddy dating Cassie when she was still in an on and off relationship with Diddy. He knew You knew that was my girl, Combs told Cuddy, who replied that he had believed Ventura and Combs had broken up. Ventura eventually showed up to the meeting. Oh my goodness. And explained that Cuddy and she had fallen in love and things just happened. All right. The meeting concluded with the two men shaking hands. Ooh, okay. Cuddy testified or recalled asking Combs, "What are we going to do about my car?" Okay. And hold on, let me just read this whole thing. Muscati, also known by his stage name, Kid Cudi, said he made sure to ask that question when our hands were clasped together so he could look Combs in the eye. He said Combs gave him a cold stare and replied, I don't know what you're talking about. Muscati took his hand back. Combs seemed surprised. Muscati testified, saying, Wait, I thought we were cool. Muscati was referring to his Porsche, which he said someone had blown up. All right, so that's some circumstantial testimony there. Yeah, Benji, that definitely tickled me. Okay, so Cuddy will face cross-examination from Diddy's lawyers next. During a sidebar break, the witness let out a pronounced yawn as he stre- as he as he stretched his arms above his head. She's giving us all the details. Okay, so around 12:03 p.m., years after his meeting with Combs, Diddy told prosecutors the two men returned to the same Los Angeles Soho house to clear the air again. I'm gonna look up this place. Hold on. I'm gonna, because they've mentioned it so many times. Maybe I can go out there. I don't know what I would be doing out there, but let's see. Soho House. What does it look like? Okay, so Soho House is an international network of private members clubs and hotels focused on the creative industries, offering spaces for work, socializing, and relaxation. Okay, blah, blah, blah. London, New York, other locations. Let's look up the one in LA. Let's look up the one in LA. It just looks like an office building. Yeah, just it looks like an office building. There's not much to this. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I always do get distracted. I get distracted. All right. So let us get back to the Soho house. So they met up again, and Combs brought his daughter. Which one? Muscati recalled and pulled him aside at one point to say, Man, I just want to apologize for everything, all that bullshit. Okay. All right. I don't know. Okay. So apparently, I kind of found peace with the whole situation. Cuddy told the jury. That's the last thing I was expecting to get as he finished his initial testimony. The rapper told the court he had no other beefs with Combs or anyone else at that time. Okay, so that's important because that's important for the prosecutor. And the reason it's important is because, as we've seen with other witnesses, in this Combs trial, and we've also seen this with other trials we've covered together. Most recently, the one in ASAP Rocky. Okay, so it's important that Cuddy is basically telling the jurors that he has no beef with Diddy. That makes him or he appears, we don't know, we're still about to get to cross-examination, but he does appear to be a neutral, unbiased witness. Whereas, for example, Cassie, they brought up the fact that she got $20 million from Diddy. When it comes to Don, it came out that she's suing Diddy. So with most people, what is this? The defense can pretty much argue that, okay, you're upset with Diddy, you worked with him, you're suing him, you want his money. They cannot say the same of Cuddy, because he does appear. I mean, I don't know that he has Diddy money, but he has Cuddy money. Okay. All right, let us move on. So, under cross examination, Kid Cudi said there was no damage to his home in December of 2011, the day he believed Sean Combs or his associates broke in and unwrapped his Christmas presents. Combs' attorney, Brian Steele, noted that there were no chairs turned over, no broken glass, no glass broken, no holes in the wall. Muscati, a rapper known by his stage name. Why do they keep saying that? Kid Cudi agreed. He said he left the front door to his home unlocked. Wow. So there was no forced entry. I guess the assistant would have known that, right? Steele highlighted that Combs sounded, in Cudi's words, calm when the two men met later. The defense attorney also asked if Ms. Cudi ever saw Combs be violent with Ventura or if she disclosed any sexual abuse. Ms. Cudi said no. So maybe there's more cross examination. to me, this cross examination did not do anything. Okay. Again, I was not sure about Brian Steele's contributions, and yeah, from I suppose the cross exam. There's more to the cross examination, but these few these three paragraphs that I just read again. If we go back to the initial testimony or direct, he did not testify to you know any holes, broken glass, anything. It was a bunch of gifts or presents that were opened, and a dog that was locked in a bathroom or in another room. Um, and even, the questioning as to whether he had witnessed Diddy be violent towards Cassie, that does not solve the defense issue, because you have Kaplan and you have some sex workers that testified to uh, physical violence by Diddy towards Cassie. So that does not help the defense. So let us move on. The defense is using Scott's testimony to question the character of the prosecution's star witness, Cassie Ventura, who's fleeing with a rapper, allegedly incited Sean Combs to break into his home and burn his car. On cross examination by defense lawyer Brian Steele, Cuddy said that when he and Combs met to resolve their romantic dispute over Cassie, both men agreed she had misled them into believing she was unattached. The person who played you and the person who played Mr. Combs was Ms. Ventura. Steele said, true. Cuddy answered, I would have objected to that question. I would have objected to that question, unless the only way that is not objectionable is if Cuddy testified, literally used the words that she played me and she played Diddy. So Scott Muscati was almost comically casual in court Thursday morning, as this is just Anne, the reporter. She's talking about her colleague. As my colleague Shayna Jacobs noted, the rapper known as Kid Cudi wore a black jacket. I don't know why. I'm going to skip over that. Okay. Ms. Cudi yawned a few times during his testimony and seemed to take pleasure in describing Diddy as resembling a Marvel supervillain. I wonder if he prepped that. Wonder if he was prepared. Like, if that's, or maybe that's just how he talks. When defense attorney Brian Steele thanked Muscati for his testimony, he replied, yep, no problem. Okay. So that is where they kept off. That is where they kept off with Cuddy. So the last question prosecutors asked Kid Cudi before he left the stand Thursday morning was about his meeting with Diddy and Cassie Ventura in 2011 as they discussed their love triangle. Cuddy's whose legal name. Why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep writing that? Why do they have to keep saying Cuddy, whose legal name is Scott Muscati, testified earlier that Combs told him, I don't know what you're talking about, when Muscati asked about compensation for his Porsche, which he recently had found burned in his driveway. That is, Okay, anyways, so the U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson asked Muscati what his understanding of Combs' comment was, that he was lying. Muscati answered. So what stood out to me as I read or went over that, right? There's an inference that the prosecutor want the jurors to draw here. They basically want the jurors to form an opinion that had Diddy actually not been involved in the blowing up of Cuddy's vehicle, he would have denied it. Under these circumstances, he does not deny it. Okay, let us move on. So they had a lunch break. Okay. Ooh. Okay. So judge reprimands defense attorney Brian Steele over Kid Cudi questioning. Before the court left on its lunch recess, prosecutor Maureen Comey had harsh words for Sean Combs' attorney, Brian Steele. During cross examination, Steele had begun a line of questioning, asking Scott Muscati, who goes by there we go, who goes by the name Kid Cudi, whether he had a physically intimate relationship with Cassie Ventura. Steele should have alerted the court that he was going to pursue that line of questioning per Rape Shield. My screen just messed up. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so Steele should have alerted the court that he was going to pursue that line of questioning per Rape Shield law, per Rape Shield guidelines, said Comey. It was frankly outrageous that he was asked in open court. And that is what I talked about even before we really got into what is this? The Diddy case. Under these circumstances, because Cassie Ventura is a victim of sexual abuse, according to the prosecution, the defense, there's certain things they cannot ask about. They cannot make her out to be promiscuous. So why Brian Steele would do that, I suppose he's trying to get an acquittal or a hung jury by all means. So he's skating, he's skating the rules. So the judge then reprimanded Steele, saying that the questioning was out of bounds and that he should have told the prosecution that he was going to ask about Ventura and Mascati's sexual relationship. It's no state secret, the judge said. You need to at least let people know. All right, let us move on. Did they object, though? Okay, so the government is arguing to exclude defense photos of Cassie Ventura that he believes are too revealing and could suggest that she's sexually promiscuous. Prosecutor Maureen Comey said the photo could suggest sexual stereotypes that are inappropriate at this trial. The judge just excluded one photograph that seemed to show Ventura holding a gun to her mouth. Wow. The defense argues that the photos it wants to introduce help to illustrate what her career was like at the time. So if that was the case, I do not understand why they did not. Who are they going to call to speak to these photographs? Because I'm asking myself, why wouldn't they want to bring those photographs in through Cassie? I'm thinking the reason that they did not do that is because Cassie's probably the only person that can give the photographs real context, whereas other people can speculate as to, what the photographs were depicting, or at least they can speculate in a manner that's in line with the defense theory of the case. Okay. So apparently, at least some of the photos were part of a photo shoot for Ventura's album. All right, let us move on. Then we have Myla Morales took the stand answering questions from the government. Morales is a makeup artist who worked for both Diddy from 2000 to 2005 and Cassie from 2007 to 2018. That's a long time. Morales and Ventura were close, with Morales describing herself as a big sister to Cassie. Morales said she would do Cassie's makeup for photo shoots, music videos, and fashion magazines. These photos would be checked by Diddy. Morales said Sean always made sure the look was perfect. Okay, so I suppose the fans is bringing in the photos through Myla Morales. All right. I have about 10, 15 minutes, and then, yeah, I'm going to get my day started. So makeup artist Myla Morales said she was napping on a couch during Grammy Awards weekend in 2010 when Diddy entered the suite in search of her friend Cassie, shouting, "Where the fuck is she?" Combs charged inside. Morales testified, and she heard yelling and screaming from the bedroom where Ventura was staying before Combs stormed back. Morales said Ventura left the bedroom distraught with a swollen eye and a busted lip and knots on her head. And that is why I was saying that the cross-examination by Brian Steele of Kid Cudi it does not shake up those, abuse or assault allegations. Those are sticking because enough witnesses from the prosecution side have testified to the assault. All right, let us move on. She said she took Ventura home in the morning and a physician friend looked at her injuries. The friend recommended Ventura go to the emergency room, but she declined, Morales said. Defense attorney Anna asked makeup artist Mila Morales about work she'd done for her friend Cassie Ventura. I'm going back to Brian Steele here. And again, based on the reporting here, it's really hard to capture exactly what the cross or what the direct was, right? But if we do go back to Brian Steele's cross examination, to me, that's not, didn't do anything. It's didn't shake up anybody. Let us move on. Okay. So the defense attorney asked the makeup artist Mila Morales about work she had done for Frank Cassie Ventura. So the defense attorney previously told the judge she wants to demonstrate that Ventura had a thriving and vibrant career, possibly a strategy to undermine the government's argument that Diddy stifled her career as a pop star. I still don't know any music by her. Like I have no real memory of Cassie, um, as an artist. The defense attorney showed the court a number of photos from a music video with Ventura and rapper Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow, as well as several magazine shoots. Morales confirmed she did Ventura's makeup on those projects. I figured that's where they're going to go. So the defense attorney just concluded the cross examination. What? Is that it? Concluded the defense cross examination of Mila Morales, a makeup artist who worked for Combs and had a sisterly bond with Cassie Ventura. Morales previously testified that she feared for her life when she saw Cassie's injuries after Sean Combs struck her while the woman was sharing a hotel room in 2010. She explained that her fear prevented her from talking to Combs or calling him about the incident, and that neither Combs nor his employees ever approached her about it. Okay, so it sounds like she was not given a bag to keep quiet. Okay, the government is now questioning its fourth witness on this packed day. This is Frederick Zimor, the general manager of a Beverly Hills luxury hotel. Zimor is being asked about hotel records showing reservations that Diddy made over the years. I wonder if they're going to see if the reservations were under his business or not. So the general manager walked jurors through hotel records on. I got distracted. I got a message. Got distracted. Okay, so the general manager walked jurors through hotel records on regular guest Sean Diddy Combs, showing that he was considered problematic and likely to damage property. That's not good. Always spills candle wax on everything and uses excessive amounts of oil. Read an internal note on the famous guest. The same note instructed employees to charge Combs an extra $1,000 for expected damage and to mark the room out of order upon departure for deep cleaning. Ugh. At one point, Combs was charged $500 for an excessive amount of candle wax found on the carpet. The manager testified that Combs booked rooms under aliases including Frank Black and Ryan Lopez. But staff knew his real identity and lodged him only in certain entry-level rooms, according to the court exhibits. Prosecutors and witnesses have said Combs held free cuffs at various luxury hotels and demanded that the rooms be prepped exactly to his liking with candles, mood lighting, and copious amounts of baby oil. Zemo pointed to a line in the staff notes that Combs likes the room hot. Okay. With instructions to set the thermostat to 75 degrees before his arrival. That is kind of, You're gonna get a heart attack messing around with that stuff. Anyways, let us move on. So they had a special agent who specializes in computer forensics. He took the stand. He was the fifth witness for the day. Croft said, "Oh, Joshua Croft is his name." Croft said he extracted data from multiple devices involved in this case. He laid out his methodology, which was quite technical in detail for the jury. He gave a broad overview of what he found on different laptops, signs of damage or being erased to factory settings, for example. As Kraft went over this, um, Diddy scooched his chair up to the defense table, his blue spiral notebook in hand, and bent his head to write in it. Okay, apparently he was focused and paying attention. He was paying attention. So the government's questioning of Special Agent Joshua Croft was relatively short, focused primarily on his methodology for data extraction and the condition of three laptops. He had a damaged hard drive, but Croft was still able to recover a lot of data, he testified. Another laptop, which prosecutors said belonged to Cassie, had been reset to factory settings and showed a login screen for Frank Black. Okay, and that's apparently, one of Diddy's monikers. So Croft said he extracted text messages from these computers, but did not discuss any of the material recovered. So I suppose they're going to call somebody up to, testify to the details and what was found on these devices. So the judge then excused the jury for the long Memorial Day weekend. There will be no court on Friday or Monday. Okay, so no court today. Okay. Anticipating perhaps the jurors might meet family and friends over a long break, blah, 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 blah. Basically told them not to look into the case. Okay, so court will be back on Tuesday, and prosecutors are expected to call Capricorn Clark, who's another of Diddy's assistants. And if I remember correctly, this is the same individual that worked for Kid Cudi as well. So it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. I really wanted to get to more of Kaplan's testimony. I guess today's what, Friday? Maybe I'll come up here tonight. Do I want to come up here tonight? Yeah, let's come up here tonight, okay? I'm going to come up here tonight. Today's Friday, though. It's a long day. Do I want to come up here tonight? I'm not sure. I'm going to put a pin in that, okay? If I do come up here tonight, it's going to be around 9 p.m. or so, okay? If I do come up here tonight, it's going to be around 9 p.m. And the reason for that is because I want to cover all of Kaplan's testimony, because my interest here is really going to lie in the people that work for Diddy and people that were granted immunity, because these are the folks that the prosecution is alleging were involved in some wrongdoing alongside Diddy. All right, my alarm is going off. I need to get dressed and get on out. You guys have a fantastic Friday, and I will be back tonight. Let me schedule that now. I will be back tonight at 9 p.m. just so we can recap Kaplan. Alexa, stop. And we'll call it a night. All right, I will see you guys later. Benji, I don't know if you're working or not. If you're working, have a fantastic day at work. If you're not working, hope you enjoy a day off. All right, folks, I will be back at 9 p.m. All right. Bye, Benji.